All right, Joe. We have cowboys in our studio.
We have real live ones. They're all dressed up and decked out.
And we know we have been preaching tourism for 6.5 years of doing this show.
Yep.
That's what I do for my living. You understand as an intelligent business guy that this is a crucial part of what we do in this community.
My biggest month was always March. And in the haircut business or any retail business I had, March was the biggest month because that's when spring training was happening, used to happen. That's when tourists were coming because it was really great weather, and we just saw the bump in all of our stores, all of our retail stores.
So one of the gems of southern Arizona that to this day is still one of the most visited things in the state of Arizona is Tombstone.
It's the town too tough to die is what I understand.
That's what they call this radio show. We're the radio show Too Tough to Die. And we have Doc and Deadeye, which we can't get better names than Doc and Deadeye to come visit us. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Hold on, Ed. I need a microphone. Where are you, big stud? Let's try that again. Good morning, Doc and Deadeye.
Good morning.
There
Good morning.
they go. There they go. They sound better. So, gentlemen, Tombstone, Arizona is the town too tough to die. And you have been a part of what goes on in Tombstone for years, it sounds like.
We've been, I've personally been in Tombstone for about 18 years, and I've been in the, I'll call it gunfight business for 17 years. And my friend Deadeye here has been there for probably just as long.
About the same, yeah.
So here's a question I'm fascinated by. Reminds me of the movie Bronco Billy with Clint Eastwood, right? Before he became Bronco Billy, he was a shoe salesman in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys do before you got into the gunfight business?
Well, for a number of years, I'm originally from Minnesota. And for many years, I was a car salesman in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I guess that's where I developed my gunfighting skills, being a car salesman, used cars, and so on.
I did just watch Used Cars with Kurt Russell.
And the True Coat. You got to get him to buy that True Coat.
What about you, Deadeye?
Well, I was kind of into gunfight business right away. I was a police officer for almost 30 years in Minnesota, and I was also U.S. Marshal for 5 years.
All right.
So,
did you guys know each other in Minnesota?
No, I don't believe we did.
No, we were that close, too, literally, from Hopkins to Minneapolis. It's just a short drive, but he would have probably arrested me if I'd have known.
I'd have probably bought a car from you.
Now, was your name Deadeye when you were a marshal and a cop, or was that
I acquired that name while I was a police officer. That's kind of a long story, but basically I was on a tactical team and was one of the snipers.
Uh-huh. All right.
And it served you well in your future occupation.
Yes.
So why the gunfight? Why the gunfight business?
Well, it's really strange when my wife and I moved to Tombstone, like I said, about 17 years ago. My original plan was to retire and just kind of enjoy the Old West, which I've always been a big fan of. But at that time, I got started in the acting business by one of the friends that ran a gunfight show there. So my retirement lasted about 2.5 weeks.
Nice.
Next thing I know, I was up to my hips in bullets and guns, and I've been living a dream ever since. And it's something that I love doing. I don't regret a moment of any of the 17 years, and we love the town of Tombstone.
So you have an exciting new venture that just started in the last 2-3 months here.
Yes, sir.
Where we know about going to Tombstone for the OK Corral and for those gunfights. You're kind of putting a new aspect on the gunfight experience.
Yeah, what we've tried to do, and as I said, I've been doing it for a number of years, but what we've tried to do is let people know that Tombstone is the place to go if you want to see Western history, if you are a historian or a history buff like I was. So I rode with that and worked with a number of the clubs in town and decided I needed to start my own business. And what had happened was I did a lot of research, and we found out that, believe it or not, a lot of the gunfights back in the Old West happened indoors,
right,
in the saloons and in the bars and in the cantinas. So we ran with this premise and developed a show around it. This was
a lot of gunfights now happen indoors.
Yeah, some things never change, whether it's 1880 or 1980.
Can we not say gun? Can we call it something else, like
pistol? We're pistoleros, is what we are.
Check it out. Follow along if you're near your interweb. Gunfightpalace.com in Tombstone. Check it out right now.
So what we did is we developed a show that would be conducive to indoors. We took some characters in Tombstone from the Old West that probably didn't make the movies or the books, and we developed that into a show, and we do a 3-act live theater show at the Gunfight Palace in Tombstone, 524 Allen Street, right across from the Birdcage Theater, by the way. And we've been very successful. And I'm very fortunate to have fellows like my friend Deadeye here, and Aaron and Mike and some of the other fellows that work for us that are our gunfighters. And we've been very successful, but we're just at the infancy right now.
So can you eat and drink there too, or is it just the gunfight experience?
It's basically just a theater.
Okay.
We don't have now. It's a theater that's built as an 1880s saloon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's dry.
Okay.
But we're surrounded by saloons in Tombstone, so
I've
that's
heard
never a problem. Basically, what we do is we're there to entertain. We do history. We do historical accuracy. That's what we're known for. But the bottom line is we're here to entertain. And what we've tried to do is we're in the process of trying to draw the younger generation into Tombstone, into the Old West. And we see that the demographics have changed quite a bit in Tombstone. A lot of the baby boomers have gone, so we're trying to attract that younger audience, and it's been very successful so far. Fortunately, I have guys, again, like my friend Deadeye here, that are very professional and have helped us all the way along, so I'm very blessed.
Just like the movie Toy Story. So the story behind Doc Holliday and the Rustlers, maybe just real quickly, why Tombstone? It happened for real, correct?
Absolutely.
And they made movies out of it. And
Yep.
so what happened, and what was the thumbnail discussion of those who don't know the actual story?
Well, it's basically Tombstone came to being because of silver back in the 1880s. But when the silver came in, that normally brings a lot of gunfighters and gamblers and ladies of the evening and what have you. And Tombstone grew around the silver, but it became a town that was very lawless. In fact, they called it the bawdiest town between St. Louis and San Francisco. At one time, believe it or not, Tombstone had a population of almost 15,000 people during its silver heyday. So this is what we've built on. It was all around the gunfight at the OK Corral. This is what brought Tombstone to its prominence. Silver started it, but as we say, we're still on the map today because of blood, and that was the OK Corral shootout.
What's the best movie about Tombstone?
Well,
do you
in my opinion, it would be Tombstone of the many that have been out there. My Darling Clementine and the OK Corral and Wyatt Earp. I personally prefer the movie Tombstone because I think it's more historically accurate than some of the
exactly. One with Kurt Russell in it.
Right.
Okay, the newer one.
I'll be your Huckleberry, Joe.
Yeah.
There's a
Interesting. I'll be your Huckleberry. Just a little side note. Actually, the term is pronounced Hucklebearer, and it came from back in the old days. Actually, over in the South, when somebody was being buried,
Virginia.
they would have to have people to hold the casket. The casket handles on the casket were called huckles, so they were looking for hucklebearers.
I got
But
you.
it morphed into, because of the movie, I'm Your Huckleberry, which is fine because they sell a lot of coffee cups and glasses.
That's right.
because of that.
And T-shirts.
I just got a letter from him.
Right.
Pretty excited about it.
That's true.
What Doc said, the whole crew is really interested in the history and preserving the Western history, and I think all of the groups there in Tombstone are, that's their goal. But one thing that kind of brought it to light for me a few years back was a young fella, a little kid about 10 years old, walking down the boardwalk with his family. He had a coonskin cap on, and I went over and I was talking to him. I asked him where they were from, and they said they were from Tennessee. And I said, "Oh, well, you guys must know Davy Crockett." Well, they looked at me. They didn't know who Davy Crockett was.
And had the hat on and everything, right?
Exactly.
Sure.
I mean, they didn't know who he was, and it's like American history is not taught in the schools anymore.
Right.
And that's one of the kind of my goal is to help preserve Western history by doing these.
So as guys who have been participating in these gunfights for so long, if you were going to train Joe Higgins to be a gunfight reenactment participant, what are the top 3 rules to be an excellent gunfighter and reenactment participant?
Never turn your back.
Okay.
Never turn your back. That's the first rule of the Old West, right? There's never turn, especially with Deadeye around.
Okay.
Right.
He's a noted back shooter.
Right.
So.
That's why I live so long.
Well, that's why we always say that we don't have to be a fast draw artist because we're back shooters. And
That's when people are walking down the boardwalk. They'll say, "What are you doing?" I say, "I'm waiting for you to go by so I can shoot you in the back."
it's we have a lot of fun with what we do because, as Deadeye said, we take a lot of pride in the history of the Old West. I always, excuse me, I always tell my wife when I get up that, guess what, honey? Guess what I get to do today? I get to go play cowboy.
Right.
I'm very serious about that. What Deadeye said about the youngsters, that for me is where it's at. When I see the little 10, 12, 13-year-old child, boy or girl, come walking up and look at me with these big silver dollar eyes because they've never seen anything like that before, and they look at you like you're some kind of an icon, to me, that's where it's at.
How long did it take you to learn how to fall when you get shot?
Well, I played hockey for a lot of years, so falling came naturally to me, so it wasn't real hard. Being from Minnesota, I played a little hockey, so falling wasn't that hard. It's the getting up at this point that's a little harder right now.
We've been doing stunts and stuff for quite some time.
Yeah, actually, we've done, Deadeye and I have done some movies together. We did The Gun Down with Peter Coyote a while back, and we did Dead Man series with some of the locals. So we've been. I just finished doing
that Legend and Lies that was on television.
And we were talking about with your economic development folks from down there that a reality show TV came down and did a pilot with you.
Right.
Yeah, they were interested in exploring the dynamics of Tombstone and the gunfights in the Old West. So they came by and we shot a pilot. And I don't know if that's still in the works right now. I believe it is, but it's, as Hollywood has told us many times, the wheels of progress work real slow there. So, but we've also done a lot of things. One of the things that we pride ourselves in doing, other than our historical accuracy, we're a traveling show. We've gone to Colorado Springs, we've gone to New Mexico, we've been at some local places outside of Tombstone. So we are available to bring our show anywhere that people want us to be at. We're that portable, and that's one of the things we like, because if we can get out of Tombstone and bring this vision that we have to other people, then we've accomplished
something.
Sounds
like our next happy hour, Joe. All right, gunfightpalace.com in fabulous Tombstone, Arizona, 524 Allen Street, right across from the Birdcage, right, is what you said?
Yes, right.
Ed Alexander, what do you got to give away, buddy?
I've got a pair of tickets, general admission to the new Gunfight Palace, to adult admission. So do it.
Shows every day, 11, 12:30, and 2:30?
11, 12:30, and 2:30. We're open Thursday through Monday.
Thursday through Monday. All right, gunfightpalace.com. Really? Fourth caller.
Yeah,
you're so brave today.
Work. I'm ready.
Fourth caller right now, 790-2040. 2 tickets to the Gunfight Palace, Tombstone, Arizona. Gentlemen, thanks for what you do.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
you.
We need guys like you out in the wall, as they say, so keep doing what you're doing.
We love it.
Come down to Tombstone, we'll make you gunfighters, both of you, I guarantee you that.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with guns right now. I'm a little nervous about this.
We can help you out
Barack
with
says
that.
we got a problem with
I'm
guns.
going to tell you something. He has the worst manual dexterity ever. It'll take him 5 seconds to draw a gun. So
Thank you for having us, fellas.
I can get the Gatling gun out and everything by
There
the
you
time
go.
he draws. So, guys, have a great day. God
Thank
bless.
you.
Wake up, Tucson. You're on The Voice.